have him on speakers, right? Okay. Yeah, I said Brady. Yeah, not Braden.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Brady.
Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us together tonight, even if we are apart. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Very good. That is a good one. All right. Today we are doing the seventh commandment. What is the seventh commandment?
You shall not steal.
You shall not steal. Very good. Click to the, I think the third slide. No, that's okay. And one more. You shall not steal. Huh? Yeah, we are. I forgot to print those off. Yeah. I sent them to Joe, and I forgot to print off copies for you guys. So I'm just tired, I guess. I'm old. I'm gray-haired. I'm forgetful. Okay. I'm a Cardinals fan also, and so that's why I couldn't resist that picture there. Do you know what that picture is? Yeah, but does anybody follow baseball at all? Yeah. Do you know who that is? It's Yadier Molina. Have you ever heard of Yadier Molina? He's the catcher for the Cardinals, and he's one of the best defensive catchers of all time, and one of the best at throwing guys out that are trying to steal second base. And so that's why they made that shirt out of that, because he was extremely good at it. He's not as good as it now, but that's because he's old. But I couldn't resist, so I love that shirt. So I think that's a cool looking shirt. Does anybody have a problem with stealing? Hopefully not. No. Yeah. No. I have some friends that would take office supplies and stuff from work and stuff like that, and they always justified it by saying, "Oh well, it's the workplace anyway, and I'm working for them and all that, so I can take some stuff home if I want to." So it wasn't necessarily the right thing to do. But thanks, Joe. I was just forgetful all day today. All right, good. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. So the seventh commandment, you shall not steal. In what ways do we break this commandment? Next slide, please. In what ways do we break this commandment? Yeah, that's the next one. Okay. Whenever we do what? Take our neighbor's possessions, okay? Whenever we take our neighbor's possessions. And we'll talk about what that means a little bit later on, but it's not just stealing by itself. There's other things going on here as well, okay? Which gets us to the second one. Whenever we get them, no, that's okay. Oh, no, yeah, that's okay. I just wanted the picture first, but that's okay. Whenever we get them, how? Because stealing is illegal, okay? But what if you're able to get their stuff and it's not illegal? Okay. Whenever we take them in or get them in a dishonest way, okay, a dishonest way, all right? Whenever we get them in a dishonest way, can somebody give me an example of how you might be able to take somebody's stuff in a dishonest way without actually breaking the law? Yeah. Okay, that would work. Yeah, that would be one way. Another way? It's still illegal. It's just you're not paying the consequences for it. Yeah. 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 Any other ways that you can think of? Okay, what about somebody who operates a store and he's selling stuff for like 20, let me put it this way. Let me put it a slightly different way, okay? In today's context, with today, what's going on in the world today, do you remember back in the spring when COVID first hit, how people were rushing to the stores and buying up all the toilet paper and all of that stuff and filling up their garages and stuff? Do you know why they were doing that? They were doing that because they thought that then if they had all of the toilet paper, they could then sell it to people for a whole bunch of money, okay? They could, that's technically it was legal, but it was also kind of being dishonest because what were they doing? They were buying up all the toilet paper so nobody else could buy it. Then they'd have to buy it from them for a lot of money, okay? That's a type of dishonesty, okay? Still technically legal, but a little bit dishonest, okay? All right, any other ideas that you could think of that people might do? Any thoughts? Okay, what can we do to keep this commandment then? All right, so the two things we shouldn't be doing is you don't take your neighbor's possessions, and two, you do not try to take their possessions in a dishonest way. So you don't take their possessions illegally or in a dishonest way. What can we do to keep this commandment? First picture. What is that person doing? Yes. Good. So whenever we protect our neighbor's property, all right? If you see somebody who is trying to break into their home, you call the cops, okay? All right. If you see something else happening that's damaging their property, you can maybe take care of that for them or help them with that, okay? Whenever you protect your neighbor's property in any way, shape, or form, okay? Another way you could do it is say you found their wallet on or their purse on the street, you would go and you would give it to them, okay, without taking the money out of it first. Of course, people don't really carry much money anymore, do they? No. It's pretty much just credit cards and debit cards now, isn't it? Yeah. Unless they're really old. Old people still carry lots and lots and lots of cash, okay? I think I have a little bit of cash in my wallet, but I don't know how long it's been in there because I never use it, so why even bother having it, okay? So whenever we protect our neighbor's property, whenever we help them to do that. The other, what's going on there? Yeah, they're helping to pick up a tree after it did some damage or something, yeah. So improving our neighbor's property, okay? Anything we can do to improve our neighbor's property. Things you can do are, if you have a neighbor who's kind of elderly, you can mow their lawn for them, can't you? Okay, that's something you could do to help them improve their property, you know, or rake up their leaves for them. Because they're physically they're not able to do it that easily or that well because they are old, okay? So anything you can do to improve your neighbor's property, whatever it might be. So say, for example, you know, Joe's computer is getting old and it's starting to run really slow. If you know things that you can do to fix it so that it doesn't run as slow, you could come and help them out and do that, okay? Something along those lines. So it could be anything that you do to improve your neighbor's property one way or another, okay? All right, what about, what about if you borrow something and you don't return it, or you break it and you don't replace it? Is that breaking this commandment? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so not returning it would definitely be breaking this commandment. That would be taking something that doesn't belong to you. You're right. Breaking it and not replacing it, I think, would be. I mean, because if you know you broke it, okay, you broke Joe's computer, and you bring him his computer and say, "I'm so sorry, I broke your computer. It doesn't work anymore," and then you left. Well, that would be kind of breaking the commandment as well, because if you break it, you should replace it. Okay. unless they have spares or they don't need it. Okay, so for example, maybe Joe has a collection of hammers and he lets you borrow one of his, 24 hammers, and you break that hammer while doing it. Joe would probably say, it's okay, don't worry about it. I've got extra hammers, you don't need to replace it. Then it's okay. If the person that you borrowed it from says it's okay and doesn't, does, says it's okay, says you don't need to replace it, then you're not breaking the commandment, okay? But if you break it and you don't make an effort to replace it, don't ask them if they can replace it or anything like that, then you are breaking this commandment, okay? All right. Okay, how about the next one? Not doing the job you were hired to do, yes. Okay, yeah. Um, Yeah, I would agree with all of that. So what about this? What about if you're hired to do something, you don't really do that, but you did something else for them? Would that be breaking the commandment? What do you think? Like say you were hired and paid to mow your neighbor's lawn, but you didn't do it, but you raked their leaves instead. Okay, would that be breaking the commandment? What do you think? Yeah. Right. Okay. Okay. How about this? You are hired to work for Subway, and all you do is sit around and play on your phone the whole time that you're there. Oh, there's lots of stuff to do at Subway when there's no customers around. Chop up vegetables, get the meat ready, make the cookies, make the bread. There's lots of stuff they have to do when customers aren't around that you're supposed to do at a restaurant. Uh, and you'll find that out when you get a job, if you get a job at a restaurant when you're in high school or college or whatever. But there's always stuff you can be doing, okay? And you're hired, but all you do is you sit there and play on your phone. Definitely because they're paying you, right? And so they're paying you to take care of this stuff. If you're not doing it, you're stealing from them. You're taking their money, okay? There are businesses right now who will not hire any teenagers whatsoever because a lot of teenagers will do precisely that. Especially grocery stores. Like at a grocery store, they will not hire teenagers right now. A lot of grocery stores won't. Or like Walmart and stuff, because they've been burned too much by these teenagers just sitting there playing on their phone rather than doing the work they should have been doing. Okay. When I was a kid, grocery stores and Walmarts loved hiring teenagers. Okay. They loved it. And the reason they loved it is because they were the cheapest labor they could find. It was the cheapest labor they can find. But they don't do it much anymore because most teenagers will just sit around and talk on their phone, play on their phone. They won't do the work. Okay. They just don't do the work. And so that definitely would be breaking the commandment because you're taking their money and you're not even giving them what you promised to give them in return. All right, puzzle time. Work on your puzzle. Don't do the bottom half. We'll do the bottom half together. Just do the puzzle part, the types of stealing. Unscramble the words and then put in the whatever you call that bottom part there. So. Some of these words might be hard. Yeah, some of them will be very hard. Some of them will be very easy, I would think. So. Which one don't you know how to spell? Yeah, that's right. That should be RG. What are you doing? That's correct. Number 3 that you have up there. That's right. Yep. And we'll talk about how it is later. The third one down, it's one that you wouldn't think would be considered stealing, but it actually is, and we'll talk about it in a little bit. I'll give you a hint. The very first one both begins and ends with an E. Nope. But some of them might be words that you haven't heard of or you wouldn't think of right off the bat. You probably have heard of them. Yeah, that third one you wouldn't think would be it. But the rest of them you would think are forms of stealing, but you may not think of those words. And another hint or clue. The first one, the second and third letters are M and B. The last one, the last four letters are N-E-S-S. Well, that's a good start. So these are the hard ones. This is B, not E. Sorry. I'll give you the first letter for all of them. E for the third one, L for the fourth one, T. Last one ends in N-E-S-S. R, U, B, F, and L. Starts with L. See if that helps. Yeah, it's a couple more minutes. I would be mightily impressed if you've heard of that word, but it starts with a vowel.
But I feel like it's U-R-Y, but I don't know.
Yeah,
It is?
that's exactly what it is.
I don't know
Yeah.
what that is.
We'll discuss what it is. Okay, what did you say? What about the third to last? Zach needs a hint for the third to last. It's a compound word, and the second of the two words is something you get in your post office box. Okay. Starts with an L. I'd be mightily impressed if you knew this word too. All right, let's go through them really quick. And then we're going to match them with their definitions down at the bottom. The first one is, anybody? Anybody know what the first one is? Go ahead. I thought somebody was coming online.
I think Zach would. Go ahead, Zach.
Yep, go ahead.
Embezzle.
Embezzle. Yep, E-M-B-E-Z-Z-L-E. Embezzle. Second one should be the easiest one of all of them. Steal. Good. The third one is envy. That's the one that was tripping Braden up. The fourth one. Did anybody get this one? No. Okay, go ahead, Zach.
Larceny.
Larceny. Very good. Larceny. The next one. Theft. Very good. Next one. Robbery. Good. The next one. Usury. Usury. We'll talk about what that is in a second. Next one. Usury. Next one. Taylor, I think you had this one. Yeah, you did. Yeah. Burglary. Very good. Yeah. Burglary. Next one. Blackmail. Very good. Your brother's black. They have dirt on you that they can blackmail you with? I was going to say, you're too young to have any dirt on you. Okay. Yeah. That's good. The second to last one. Fraud. Very good. And the very last one. Laziness. Thank you. Very good. Laziness. And so the saying on the bottom is God's gift of possessions. Very good. All right, go to the next screen, please. All right, we're going to match the definitions with the words above, okay? So the first definition is number A. Don't click on it yet. To take the property of another or others without permission or right, especially secretly or by force. Steal. Very good. So A is steal. Good. But that's kind of like the generalized term for all of these. All right, B. The wrongful taking and carrying away of the personal goods of another from his or her possession with intent to convert them to the taker's own use. No. Yeah, I think that's right, right? No? Okay. Yeah, yeah. Well, there's a couple of them that are interchangeable, but yeah. Okay. Any other guesses? No. Yes. Larceny. Larceny. Very good. Okay, C, to take by force. Robbery. Very good. If you rob somebody, you're usually pointing a gun at them or holding a knife at them, or Mike Tyson is threatening to punch you if you don't give him all your money. Of course, he has so much money he doesn't need to take your money, but all right, D. Any payment extorted by intimidation as by threats of injurious revelations or accusations. Very good. Blackmail. Evidently, Braden is very familiar with that. He gets blackmailed all the time. The difficulties of being the youngest child. Huh? Oh, well, see, when you're the oldest one, you get to do that stuff to the younger ones. It's when you're the younger one that it gets done to you. So, yeah, and you know what the excuse? Yeah. And you know what the older kids' excuse for why they do it is? It's to toughen you up, to get you ready for real life. That's what they usually say. So. All right. E. Deceit, trickery, sharp practice, or breach of confidence perpetrated for profit or to gain some unfair or dishonest advantage. Who is? Yeah, Zach.
Envy.
No. Fraud, yes. That is fraud. Okay, fraud is being dishonest to gain something from somebody. Okay, F, unwilling to do one's work. Braden. That is correct. What is laziness? If you're unwilling to do your work, you're being lazy. That's why I never liked doing group work in school when I was in school, because all of my so-called teammates would just sit there and make me do all the work, and then they'd get all the credit. Right. See, back when I was in school, most of the time the teacher would assign us groups, so you couldn't like be with your friends, and so we couldn't do it. Yes. Wyatt. Okay. Okay. I think I need to hear Wyatt's version of the story. So. Okay. Where are we at? G. Overcharging or charging excess interest or paying wages that are too low. Yes. No. That's a good guess, though. Anybody want to guess? Zach.
Usury?
That is correct. That is what usury is, okay? So usury would be like if you owned a business and you were hiring people and you were paying them under the minimum wage, or you were paying them a wage that wasn't fair compared to what other people would pay for the same services, okay? That would be usury. Another version of usury would be yeah, if you charge too much money for something, okay? Or something along those lines. Yeah. What were you gonna say? Oh, for the next one? Okay. But those are different types of usury. And in many ways, usury isn't necessarily illegal, or at least in many ways, it can't be proven in a court of law, and so you can get away with it. But don't do it. Because it's still a very dishonest thing to do. It is still a bad thing to do. But it happens all of the time, especially with like illegal immigrants get paid really super low wages because the people who are hiring them know that the illegal immigrants aren't going to go to the cops, because if they go to the cops, guess what? They're going to get kicked out of the country, okay? Yeah, blackmail kind of gets mixed in there as well, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Summer we were looking for different parts for the pool.
Uh-huh.
And because it was summertime and everybody was, it was such a high demand. So you look on Amazon or any other website selling it, and they charge so much extra.
Because it's so much in demand and people want it so badly, they're going to charge a lot more money for it. That's usury. Again, it's technically legal, but it's dishonest. It's not a good thing. Sporting event, scalping tickets, yeah, scalping tickets, yeah, yeah. Any of those types of things could be considered usury. Good. Stealing by stealth, H. What do you think that might be? Very good. A theft. So the most common form of theft is, the two most common forms of theft are breaking and entering, breaking into a person's house and stealing stuff from them. And the other is pickpocketing, okay? If you pick somebody's pocket, that's a type of theft as well. That is being stealthy and stealing, okay? To begrudge another of his or her rightful possessions or happiness. Go. Envy, very good. And so this is how envy can be a form of stealing, is if your type of envy leads you, like if somebody, a friend of yours comes and goes, oh, look at what I got. And you get really upset and you just kind of, just stomp off or something. You steal their joy, in other words. You kind of steal their joy, steal the happiness that they got and the new thing that they have gotten, okay? What's next? To appropriate fraudulently to one's own use as money or property entrusted to one's care. Go ahead. Anybody else want to try? It's the right word, but the wrong pronunciation. Very good, Braden. Yes. Embezzle, yeah. Embezzle. Good. Ebenes. All right, embezzling, good. And then our last one is breaking and entering. Is burglary, good. Burglary is if you smash open a store's window and you run in and you grab as much as you can, the smash and grab. You've seen them on TV, haven't you? The smash and grabs. That's burglary, okay? you know, breaking into a person's home would be burglary as well. Burglary can be a form of theft. It isn't always a form of theft because sometimes you're not being very stealthy while you do it. All right, open up your Bibles. I've got 6 different passages here for you to look at. What I want you to do is, first of all, tell me, did they break the 7th commandment, or did they keep the 7th commandment, the people in the story? And then 2, what was it that they did that kept the commandment or broke the commandment? All right? That should be an easy one to find. You will not find Genesis in the New Testament. Genesis is the very first book of the Bible.
Zach is asking in the first passage, perspective of the writer.
Okay. None of these are from the perspective of the writer, okay? Okay. You'll be fine. remember, as you're looking in this different way, the four different ways that we said, the ways that we break the commandment, two ways that we keep the commandment. We keep the commandment by protecting our neighbor's property or by improving his property. We break the commandment by taking his possessions or illegally or by trying to gain them in a dishonest way. Okay. um, go with the robbers at this point. Yeah. So, read the whole thing, okay? Because that one's a little bit tricky. So make sure you read the whole passage of Luke 10. Everybody getting close to done on the last one? Good. How about our Zoom participants? Saying maybe they're concentrating too hard. Or maybe couple minutes yet, and then we're going to go over them. All right, let's go over them if we could, please. First one, Genesis chapter 13, verse 9. In this chapter, we have Abraham before he was known as Abraham and his cousin Lot. And they had gotten to the land that was theirs. And Abraham says to Lot, he says, you know what? You take your pick. Whichever part of the land you want, you can have, and I'll take the other part. So was he keeping this commandment or breaking it? He was keeping it. How was he keeping it? He was offering it to Lot, right? He was letting Lot say, hey, you know what? He was giving him the best part of the land, or whichever the part of the land that Lot wanted, he was going to let him have. And so he was keeping the commandment by improving his cousin's property, letting Lot take the better one if he so wanted. Good. All right, jump down to the bottom one, Genesis chapter 14, verses 12 to 16. Okay. All right, what's going on in this one, Braden? Okay, who broke the commandment? Not Lot. We don't really know their names because we didn't include that in the passage that I had you read. But what did they do to break the commandment? Oh. Well, yeah, they did take everything. What else did they do, though? They took Lot also, right? They took Lot and they took everything he owned. Okay, they kidnapped Lot and they took everything he owned. So if you're talking about those people, they broke the commandment, didn't they? But if you're talking about Abram, what did Abram do? He rescued Lot, and he took back everything that was Lot's and gave it back to Lot. So if you're talking about Abram, he actually kept the commandment because he not only rescued Lot, but he rescued all of Lot's possessions and gave them back to him. So either answer would have been perfectly fine. If you did both, that would have been fine too. So as long as you knew what you were talking about. All right, Joshua chapter 7. Go ahead, Taylor. Okay. And how did they break it? They stole a cloak. Very good. Huh? Shekels? Shillings are from England. Shekels are from Hebrew. Okay. Let's go down to the second to the last one, 2 Kings chapter 5. What do we have going on there? Verses 20 to 25. What's going on? Does anybody know what's going on here? This one needs a lot of context, so I might give you a little bit of context first, then I'll let you answer, okay? Okay, so what's going on in this one is Elisha healed Naaman the leper, okay? He healed him of his leprosy, okay? And Elisha wouldn't take any payment for it. You know, Naaman was like, can I give you anything? Can I give you anything for healing me of my leprosy? And Elisha was like, no, I'm not going to take anything, okay? So then Gehazi was Elisha's servant, and Gehazi was upset. He was like, oh, my master Elisha should have, accepted payment from Naaman for healing him. And so what Gehazi decides to do is he decides to run after Naaman and say, hey, Naaman, hey, Naaman. And Naaman goes, oh, hey, what's going on? And Gehazi's like, well, you know what? There's some stuff that my master wanted. So what do you think? Fraud, right, good. He broke the commandment because he tricked Naaman, or he deceived Naaman. He was dishonest with Naaman in order to gain something, okay? All right, and so he tricked him. Very good. Okay, Luke chapter 19, verse 8.
He kept the commandment.
Okay, he kept the commandment, and how? This is Zacchaeus. You guys remember Zacchaeus from Sunday school? Zacchaeus was a wee little man was he. Do you remember that? Yeah, okay. And how did he keep it? Who said he kept it? Somebody. Zach. Okay, how did he keep it, Zach?
He returned what some of the poor had lost.
Okay, he returned not just what they had lost, but what he had taken from them. And so originally Zacchaeus had broken this commandment because he overcharged taxes so that he could, pocket some of the money for himself, because that was very common back then with tax collectors, is they would charge more than what they were supposed to charge for taxes so they could put it in their own pockets. And here he's been confronted by Jesus, and he realizes that what he did was wrong. So he says, "Here, Lord, I'm going to return what I have taken from people, and if I was fraudulent towards anybody, I'll give them back double what I took from them." Okay? So originally he had broken the commandment, but here in this passage he was actually keeping it, because he was not only returning their possessions, but he was giving them double what he had taken from them. Good. And then Luke chapter 10, verses 29 to 37. Go ahead, Taylor. Okay, who broke it? The robbers broke it because what did they do? Some poor guy, right? Some poor guy on the street got robbed, and they took everything, and they beat him, and they left him on the street to die, right? And so they broke the commandment. Now later on, we find out that the priests and others didn't even help him, did they? They just walked by. They saw him laying on the street, beaten up and everything taken from him. And they go, ooh, I don't want to go by that guy. I'm going to walk on the street on the other side of the street. They passed him by. But the Samaritan came by and said, uh-oh, this guy is hurting. I'm going to help him, picks him up, helps him out, takes him to an inn, pays for him to stay there for a while, and says, when I return, I'll pay even more if he needs any more. So the Good Samaritan, well, he didn't help his property at all, but he helped him. So he was keeping the fourth commandment that way. Thou shalt not kill. He was keeping that commandment by helping out his neighbor in his body. Okay. Any questions or comments on the seventh commandment? Okay. Autumn, would you mind closing us in prayer, please? Amen. Thank you. All right, don't forget memory work, okay? Also, don't forget, we do not have class next week. It's Thanksgiving Eve, so no class next week. And get your November memory work done.